Okay, this is Kevin Baker, and I'm just doing a follow-up video on making a half-valved chromatic harmonica, starting with I'm using a Hohner. This is a Hohner CX-12 in the key of C. Okay, I made two previous videos about sanding the front face flat. One thing I don't think I mentioned was I start with 400 grit sandpaper. I get about halfway done, I switch to 600 grit, and then just before I get done I use 1000 grit just to make it nice and smooth. And another thing, anyone that's attempting to do this at home, the front face of the comb is not very flat. It's not even close. So when you're doing so, don't try to get it completely flat, because what will happen is you'll remove too much material and then the slide will be too loose and it'll leak air, and you won't be able to make it a half-valved chromatic harmonica because it'll leak too much air, and you'll actually be able to hear the air passing by the reeds. And it won't be passing by the reeds, it'll actually be passing through the mouthpiece as you're playing. Okay, so it's very important to get every aspect of this harmonica airtight as you can, as airtight as you can, to be able to, because when we're playing half valve, what we're doing is we're removing half of the wind savers. So that's going to make it more difficult theoretically to begin with. So you have to make everything else that much better for this to ever be able to be possible. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quickly how to take one of these apart. And there's many videos online about this, but I'm just going to do it quickly anyway. Okay, so there's a little tab on the back. I don't know if you can really see that, but anyway, you push that in, pull it out. Really easy. The back of this, there's this little torsion bar. Now, this is important. There's a lot of videos on how to do this, and still many people do it wrong. Okay, on both ends, there's these little holes where the bar, there's two tabs in the bar, it goes in. Okay, when you take this off, you have to push down on both ends at the same time and slide it in one direction until it's completely out on one side, okay? Okay, now it's out, now I can pull it out. So, because what happens when you don't do it that way, the side that's coming out, if it's not pushed down all the way, it has pressure on these two little holes right here, and you can see the material between those holes in the end of it, the back of the mouthpiece. It's very thin, and it breaks. It happens to a lot of people. So you have to push down right up, push the bar up against the comb and slide it in one direction or the other. Okay, and it's important to do that because it causes a lot of problems if you don't. Okay, so after you do that, okay, here's the body. Just this way so you can see what I'm doing. Just hold it like this, and it comes right out. Okay, when you put it back together, see these little supports. They line right up with, I'm trying to get the light just okay, I think you can see it there. Let me get a little pointer so we can, just like we're in school. I'm trying to get my glasses so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Alright, again, see if I can get the light just right. Okay, there's this little one, you can see one here. I don't know if you can see the other one. I don't, but anyway, there's one here and there's one here. Oh yeah, they're not, now it's showing. There and there. Okay, so those, when you're putting it back together, of course, here's the opening for the slide, and then on one end of the cone, okay, that's where the spring goes for the slide. Okay, so you have to make sure you put it in the right end. It won't go in. It certainly won't work if you don't. Okay, when you're putting it back together, I'm trying to do this so that you can see. I already know how. Okay. You want those supports to line up with those little indentations that I showed you earlier. So you line it up perfectly with that, and then it just falls right into place. See? And when I say falls into place, inside here there's two tabs where the slide runs, the inside of the mouthpiece. There's these two tabs And those two tabs fit right, let's see if I can get it in the light. Okay, yeah, there you can see now. Right here. There's one on the top and there's one on the bottom. Okay, so these are two little tabs. And you can, when you're putting it in, you have it lined up just right. When it's in almost all the way, you can feel it snap into those little tabs. Go easy, because these things bend, and you can still put the harmonica back together, but if you don't damage these, it'll be lined up perfect every time. Okay. All right. So, what is a half-valved harmonica? Half-valving means we remove. This is the down and dirty part of it. Okay, this is in the outside of the harmonica. The first three, you leave it on the 4. The next 3, leave it on the 8, and then the last 4, you take them off. Same thing on the bottom. Okay, on the inside, it's the exact opposite. You take off the 4 and the 8 and leave all the other ones on both the top and bottom plate. Okay, so the reason being is you're removing the wind saver from, make sure I get this right. You're removing the wind saver from the highest note in the hole, so that when you're playing that note, it's not isolated from the other note. Okay, that's what wind savers do. They isolate the. Put this upside down. It doesn't really matter, but I always like to have the word Hohner not upside down when I do it. Don't want to make people at Hohner mad. Okay, so when I'm putting this back together, same thing. I put. There we go. Okay, you can see this end, the little tabs. It's all the way in. Okay, and I don't have any pressure down on this end yet. I'm just holding it in place. Okay. Before I start putting pressure down on this to push it in, I'm going to hold this down against the back of the comb. Then I'm going to put pressure on this. Okay, and when it's lined up to go in the holes, I'm going to slide both of them at the same time with equal pressure, pressed all the way up against that. When it's in the holes, then I release. Okay, that way your harmonica shell, mouthpiece, whatever you want to call it, will last you, and you'll never have any problems if you do that. Okay, now here's I finished this about a month ago, and I had been hoping to have enough time to practice this and get really good at it, but unfortunately I have not. I played it a little bit, but to be perfectly honest, this harmonica is so unique and so airtight and so different. This is the best one I've built. I've been doing this on and off, building half-valve chromatic harmonicas, planning on completely switching over and getting really good at it. I've been planning on doing it for a while, and I never really have. I get on a kick and I'll do it for 6 months and go back to the other one and going back and forth. So I've had this one for a month now, and recently I have just I've decided that what I really do want to do is be able to make these better than anything else I've ever heard. Okay, so that's what the attempt on this is, to see if I can make. First off, I want to say I've bought about half a dozen expensive chromatic harmonicas, and this is the one that produced the results that I was hoping to get, more so than anything else. And this is what I mean. I'm a blues harmonica player, so I was just thinking that this would be really cool to have a chromatic harmonica where you could play bluesy bends and have it sound like a chromatic but be able to play it like a diatonic. What I have found is I think it's more of a jazz harmonica. I mean, someone that's really, really good at playing the harmonica, that plays jazz and plays in 12 different keys. I think they would benefit from this more than a blues harmonica player. But I don't know, because it's so responsive. You can't play this. You can't play like bashing at it. It'll just bust reeds. It just won't last. It's that airtight. Okay, and here's what I mean. Okay. Now, like I say, that's the one thing about this is you can really like open your lungs and your mouth and everything, and you can try to play big toned type of notes because you're not trying to muscle your way through playing. Like a lot of chromatic harmonicas are kind of difficult to play just because they're not responsive for the most part. That's what it is. And this is not like that at all. I mean, it's just with this you have to play relaxed. It's like if you bought a $250 diatonic from Joe Spears, you get it home, and if you have never owned a custom harmonica before, you should probably not buy one of those harmonicas, because in 5 minutes you're going to waste $250 to start blowing reeds out because it's so responsive. It's just not the same thing, you know. And that's what this is. This is not a normal chromatic. Okay, and anyone that plays a chromatic harmonica, anyone that if you just take the valves off and you try to do this, this is a one draw. I mean, even that, I'm not really that great at vibrato, but even that little bit of vibrato at the end, you could just I can feel the reed. Every little bit of my breath was going into making the reed sound. None of it was getting wasted, and that's what I was trying to accomplish. So I just wanted to share that with you. And my name's Kevin Baker, and I plan on making these for people. So if anyone is interested, please get in contact with me. All right, thank you.